In the turbulent 60s, when Detroit roared with horsepower, yet General Motors tried to cage every racing dream, Chevrolet quietly built a machine so wild it defied the rules meant to contain it. A hidden beast, born in the shadows and eager to rewrite the limits of American speed. Here on American Muscle Soul, we bring its story to light, and I hope you enjoy it at your own pace, taking good care of your health as we dive into this forgotten legend. Before we go any deeper into this story, let me ask you something. If you had to guess which Chevrolet from the 60s was powerful enough to challenge endurance racers, yet subtle enough to pass as a gentleman's cruiser, which car comes to mind? American car culture was changing fast. As the 60s came into full swing, drivers were no longer satisfied with mild cruisers or pretty sheet metal. They wanted something sharper, something that felt alive the moment the engine fired. The streets became a stage for bragging rights, and every manufacturer scrambled to keep pace with this new appetite for real performance. Ford and Chrysler pushed harder each year, rolling out bolder engines and louder claims, and the pressure on Chevrolet grew heavier with every headline. Yet inside Chevrolet, the mood was far from defeat. A small circle of engineers, men who treated horsepower like a personal calling, refused to let the brand fall behind. They studied how the culture was evolving, how young enthusiasts demanded stronger brakes, tighter handling, and engines that could take relentless punishment without flinching. They knew the company needed something extraordinary, even if it could not be announced in magazines or placed proudly on showroom posters. The public saw regulations and assumed Chevrolet had been benched. But behind closed doors, the groundwork was forming for a machine designed to challenge the very limits that General Motors had imposed. In a decade defined by boldness, this quiet rebellion would become the seed of one of the most astonishing secret builds in Chevrolet history. Before the secret project took shape, Chevrolet found itself boxed in by a corporate decision that went against everything performance-minded engineers believed in. General Motors had enforced its strict racing prohibition, a policy meant to keep the company's image clean and its expenses predictable. On paper, it made sense, but to anyone who loved speed, it felt like locking the garage door during the golden age of American horsepower. Chevrolet was watching its rivals seize the moment. Ford was leaning into competition to build national pride. Chrysler was proving that brute force still sold cars. Meanwhile, Chevrolet had talent, ambition, and a loyal enthusiast base, yet no permission to show what it could really do. Every engineer who touched a performance program felt the weight of that contradiction. They knew the brand could compete. They also knew the corporation would not publicly allow it. This is where Zora Arkus-Duntov enters the story with the intensity of a man who did not accept limitations. To him, racing was not a luxury. It was the crucible that shaped better machines. He understood the 60s were becoming a decade defined by innovation, and Chevrolet would lose more than bragging rights if it stayed stagnant. So he started pushing back in the only way he could, by creating a path that fit inside the rulebook while sidestepping its spirit. That internal struggle, the clash between corporate caution and engineering pride, is what ultimately sparked the creation of Chevrolet's wild, hidden masterpiece. As Duntov's plan gained momentum, the team focused on the one platform capable of carrying a race-oriented heart without alerting the executives above them. The split-window Corvette already captivated the public with its futuristic shape, but to the engineers, it offered something more valuable. Its long, low silhouette and lightweight structure provided the perfect cover for a machine that needed to look civilized while hiding intentions far more aggressive. The design philosophy turned into a quiet act of defiance. Every visible panel remained smooth and elegant, allowing the car to pass as a stylish street cruiser. Beneath those panels, however, the engineering department reshaped the structure with endurance competition in mind. They studied airflow across the body, strengthened key points of the chassis, and prepared for the heat and strain that a true performance engine would generate. Inside the cabin, nothing drew attention. The layout appeared familiar and calm, yet every supporting component was chosen with purpose. Reinforced materials, firmer mounting locations, and geometry tuned for stability ensured the car could withstand long sessions at high speed without feeling fragile. This contrast defined the soul of the project. Outwardly, it was a Corvette meant for Sunday drives. In reality, it was a carefully engineered weapon built to chase victories from the shadows, and with the foundation complete, the next step was to give this hidden predator a heart powerful enough to justify the risk Chevrolet was taking. With the chassis prepared and the elegant disguise firmly in place, the final step was to give this hidden predator a heart worthy of its purpose. Duntov and his small circle of engineers selected the L84 small block, a high-compression powerhouse that delivered a surge of strength far beyond what Chevrolet publicly admitted. It was the kind of engine that thrived under long strain, pulling hard lap after lap without losing its edge. That alone made it dangerous in the eyes of corporate leadership, which is exactly why it had to be tucked quietly inside an unassuming option code. The team paired this engine with a close-ratio 4-speed transmission that kept the motor deep in its strongest rev range. Every shift felt deliberate and immediate, a reminder that this car was built for drivers who understood how to handle real mechanical force. Heavy-duty brakes, a reinforced cooling system, and a larger capacity fuel tank completed the package, each element chosen with endurance competition in mind. The brilliance of the plan came from how ordinary it appeared. Customers did not see a racing package advertised in bold print. Instead, the upgrades existed as a quiet sequence of internal codes, meaningless to anyone outside the small world of serious racers and Chevrolet insiders. This was the moment when the project stopped being a theory and became a threat. A refined-looking Corvette now carried the strength of a machine built for combat, all while the corporation believed it was simply another high-performance model with no deeper story. Once the first cars reached the hands of drivers who understood what they had ordered, the truth about this hidden package began to surface. The moment the L78 engine came to life, it delivered a sharp, urgent response that felt nothing like a typical street Corvette. The car pulled with a steady, relentless surge, the kind of power that did not taper off, but simply grew stronger as the revs climbed. Paired with the close-ratio transmission, every shift landed the engine right back into its sweet spot, turning acceleration into a seamless and almost aggressive rhythm. On the road, the reinforced chassis and heavy-duty brakes revealed their purpose. The car stayed composed at speeds where most street machines began to feel unsettled. Turn-in was sharper, heat management was steadier, and the entire platform felt as if it were happiest when pushed rather than cruised. It behaved like a car that wanted to work, a machine designed for long stints at high velocity rather than quiet evenings through town. Period testers occasionally mentioned unusual capability from certain Corvettes, yet few understood why these cars felt so different. Chevrolet never confirmed the truth, and dealers rarely explained it unless the buyer already belonged to the world of competition. To the average driver, it seemed mysterious, but to racers, the message was clear. Chevrolet had created a street-legal car with the instincts of a full-fledged endurance contender, hidden carefully behind the calm smile of everyday styling. As word quietly spread among racers, the hidden package gained a reputation that far exceeded its visibility in showrooms. But this reputation never translated into large sales numbers, because Chevrolet was not allowed to promote the car for what it truly was. There were no posters, no magazine features, and no dramatic showroom displays. To the average customer browsing for a stylish sports car, the option code meant nothing. Only those in the tight circle of competition drivers understood the significance of what Chevrolet had made available. The price of the upgraded components also limited its reach. This was a machine built for people who demanded durability and precision under extreme conditions, not for casual weekend cruising. As a result, only a small number of buyers were willing to invest in a car that revealed its value only at high speed and under real strain. Many who purchased it did so with the intention of racing, which meant a large portion of these cars lived hard lives from the moment they left the lot. Chevrolet kept its distance from the program, maintaining the appearance of compliance with corporate policy. The company neither denied the option nor explained its purpose, allowing the car to exist in a gray area between official product and off-the-record experiment. This delicate balance shaped its commercial fate. It never became a mainstream success, but it became something far more compelling. It became a whispered secret among those who understood what true performance felt like. As the years rolled forward, many of the original cars vanished through the harsh life they were built to withstand. Racers pushed them to the edge, engines ran at punishing temperatures, and chassis endured forces far beyond normal street use. Few examples survived intact, and that scarcity only fueled the legend. Collectors eventually pieced together the truth by comparing build sheets, interviewing former engineers, and digging through long-forgotten dealer records. What emerged was a clearer picture of a Chevrolet experiment that had quietly rewritten the expectations for American performance. The hidden package became recognized as the spiritual ancestor of every high-specification Corvette that followed. Modern enthusiasts often assume the Z06 name began decades later, yet its roots trace directly back to this secret effort in the 60s. The fact that it was created under restriction only strengthens its myth. It represents a moment when passion for performance outweighed corporate caution, when engineers chose to express their craft, even if it meant working in the shadows. In the broader culture, the car stands as proof that innovation does not always announce itself with fanfare. Sometimes it slips into the world quietly and lets its capability speak through the hands of those who drive it in anger. For gearheads who study the lineage of American performance, this machine is not merely a rare option code, it is the spark that kept Chevrolet's competitive spirit alive during one of the most important decades in automotive history. Looking back, the true significance of this hidden Corvette reaches far beyond its raw speed. Its greatest achievement lies in the determination of the people who built it, a group of Chevrolet engineers who refused to let a defining era of American performance slip past without leaving their mark. In a time when rules tightened and caution ruled the corporate halls, they still found a way to channel their passion into something extraordinary. The result was a machine that looked calm on the surface, yet carried the strength and purpose of a full-fledged competitor beneath the paint. For today's enthusiasts, this story reminds us that innovation often begins quietly, in late-night workshops and behind closed doors. Long before the world realizes what has been created, the hidden Corvette stands as a symbol of that quiet determination. It bridged the gap between policy and passion, setting the stage for the high-specification Chevrolet machines that would follow in later decades. Its scarcity only deepens its mystique, leaving us to imagine how many legends were born and lost on the race circuits of its time. And now I will leave you with a question. After hearing this story, can you guess which secret Chevrolet from the 60s we have been talking about all along? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this journey through hidden Chevrolet history, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and stay tuned here on American Muscle Soul for more stories that keep the spirit of classic performance alive.